All right, so after a little delay, I am here with my good friend Matt Dennion.
Hey everybody, glad to be back again.
And we're going to be talking about a video I've mentioned a while back, talking about X-Files being announced for Marvel Comics, and Jonathan Hickman will be writing them. And Hickman did say in an interview, "I'm also doing crossovers with X-Files." So we're going to talk about like what that could be, which ones we'd want to see, and yeah. So Matt, what would you want to see out of what do you want out of this X-Files comic first?
So, that is a great question. I kind of like X-Files better when they're not so heavy on the mythology. Like, if you look at the first few seasons of X-Files, it wasn't everything was the black ooze aliens that, sort of take people over. They would build some mythology, but it was a little bit more monster of the week. So I think that would be a good way to go about it. Like, still have some kind of overarching thing that's there, like the black ooze aliens. But I do think it's more fun when they're looking at all kinds of different stuff. And one thing X-Files was always good about was looking into things that were kind of current. So, for instance, like later episodes when like Chupacabra was becoming a thing in this general zeitgeist, they did an episode on that. So I'd like to see them tackle some more like urban legends and stuff that have sprung up since this original series ended its run. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Like something like to ape off like creepypasta or something?
Yes, things like that. I think that would be very cool. Like, I know you couldn't do specifically Slender Man, I know is copyrighted, but yeah, we could do something along those lines. Something where it's like, oh, they're kind of referencing Slender Man here. That would be pretty cool, I feel like.
Yeah, or like how like people's belief in like these horror stories gives like life to something. That'd be kind of cool.
Yes, those type of things. I think that'd be really neat to see them do.
Yeah, but the crossovers, yeah, Hickman was very obvious about it, and like I said before, I think the one we're gonna get is Alien. I think it's gonna be Alien X-Files first.
Yes, I think Alien would be very cool. I can totally see that. See, the thing about X-Files is you can't do something where it's like Mars Attacks or something where everybody kind of knows about it. It's got to be something where when it ends, you still have some kind of questions up in the air, which Alien could lead to that. Because what you want to see is like probably Mulder straight up seeing the alien and Scully kind of only coming across like somebody with a burst chest, maybe a corpse you can't explain. Something where it leads both characters to still hold true to what they think occurred without it being like a definite, this is what went down for the most part. In later seasons, Scully would come around to not being quite the skeptic, but I still think in the comics it works better if she is a bit of a skeptic. What do you think?
Yeah, I think like it would be like kind of a cool way to do it is like an astronaut like came back down from space, from the space station. They recovered some kind of like rock or something, or some other entity. The entity turned out to be like a xenomorph egg they uncovered. It attached to him. The guy came back down, and Mulder and Scully are now at this hospital, like questioning the guy. Chest busting happens off like when they're discussing things, and now like they're trapped in the hospital with this xenomorph.
Yeah, that would be cool. And you could have it where like the xenomorph is killed in such a way that there's not much remains of it left, right? And that would be a good way to go about it.
Yeah, exactly. I think like the best way to do this alien crossover is just have the one alien. Like you just need one xenomorph to like again that denial of credibility. And on top of that, I think like it just xenomorphs can be scary with just one. And there's no Mulder and Scully don't have superpowers. They're not like yeah. You can do a story with just the one xenomorph and make it scary with Mulder and Scully.
Right, and they don't have like high-powered weapons. And what makes X-Files interesting isn't so much like high-level action, it's investigation. So, like, yes, I like the idea of investigating something like in a closed setting, like a hospital, or something along those lines.
Yeah. I think the other, and again, like a lot of, like, I know I'm not saying it's official, but like there's a lot of, like, things to make it obvious. One, Jonathan Hickman's writing Avengers versus Aliens right now. I think it's supposed to be done next week.
Right.
On top of that, you have Jonathan Hickman, who is, like I said, writing that. He's also there's also the thing of Alien Earth coming out soon, and it's very clear that Fox wants to push Alien and Predator stuff more. Excuse me, Disney wants to push that more.
Yeah, yeah, and so I think Alien is very likely, and then I think we're both on the same page. Predator is also a very good chance. That would fit very well into an X-Files style investigation.
Yeah, Predator's another one. Hell, Hickman could probably do AVP and have Mulder and Scully caught in the middle of a conflict between xenomorphs and predators.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Again, I was just like one and one. I wouldn't make like a full-on like the movie where there's a whole army of them, because it just lends itself better if it's a smaller scale threat for Mulder and Scully to come across.
Well, there is like one AVP comic, and I think they could Hickman could take some inspiration from it. It was written by I can't remember his name, but it was called AVP Eternal, and it was like a small scale Alien and Predator story that involved only like 2 xenomorphs and like 1 predator.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And it could certainly work. This Predator could definitely work. If you've ever seen from season 1 the episode of X-Files called Fallen Angel, it's very much like a Predator in that episode.
Yeah. So I think that like Alien and Predator, or Alien and Predator, or Alien versus Predator, excuse me, are the top 2 suspects for what we're getting in this crossover for X-Files. But Matt, you had some ideas too. So what were yours?
Yeah, so I do think you could do crossovers with Marvel. I do think for the most part it couldn't be mainstream Marvel. Like you couldn't have Mulder and Scully in New York where everybody knows the Fantastic Four exist, right? That would be too much. But some interesting ones we kind of bounce around. You could definitely do a story taking place in like Florida and the Everglades with Man-Thing. That would be a perfect episode, a comic crossover for X-Files, right?
Absolutely. I think out of all the characters, Man-Thing would be the best. Because again, that whole clause for deniability, he's kind of a very monster of the week kind of character, and he feels like an X-Files monster.
He definitely has an X-Files monster feel to him. There was definitely some episodes where there was things like Man-Thing that appeared in it, so that he would be top of my list. Other ones I could see, and again, this would have to kind of be not mainstream Marvel. Blade would be an interesting one, I feel like, because Blade's a daywalker. You could have Mulder be like, this dude's like a vampire, and Scully like, Mulder, he's walking around in the sunlight, you know what I mean? And you could have a vampire like, I don't know, you could go Dracula, but maybe like a Deacon Frost works better or something like that, where he's killing people, and Mulder sees it as vampire killing, Scully sees it more as like a serial killer, and Blade is helping him with the investigation, and it's just like, you get these kind of interesting dialogue, I think, between all 3 of them. Mulder, Scully, and Blade, I imagine, have really interesting dialogue between the 3 of them.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun between the 3 of them. I think the banter between all of them would be great. I would say, yeah, Blade would be a solid one. Werewolf by Night would be another cool one.
Yeah. Otherwise, I could see, and again, this would have to be not mainstream Marvel, but if you're doing ones where like mutants were starting to appear, and you were getting reports about that, and Mulder and Scully investigated, I think that would be cool. He's a little bit obscure, but I feel like Nightcrawler might be a fun one to do because he looks like a demon. So like maybe Mulder thinks he's a demon, and Scully's starting to realize like, no, I know about mutation. This could be a person, and then like you get the whole thing where they're like discovering that Kurt's not a demon at all. He's actually like a really, really good human being. He just happens to look monstrous. You know, like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and it can end like as a tie-in to Giant Size X-Men #1 with Xavier being like, "I'll take it from here."
Yeah, that would be cool. Something like that would be very cool, and that could work with any number of mutants. Investigating Wolverine obviously would be cool, kind of whatever.
That'd actually be kind of cool, like to do a Wolverine one, like have it be like they're investigating like a series of like of a wild man sightings, and it's killing animals and hunters, and then it leads them into getting into their crosshairs with Weapon X.
Yeah, that would be great. I think you had pitched a good idea when I threw a challenge at you a while ago about using Wendigo to do a Van Helsing Wolverine crossover. I feel like he works just as well here. Like Mulder and Scully would definitely investigate a Wendigo, and they could think it's Wolverine, and it turns out to be Wendigo. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I think that could work. That could absolutely work. But again, like the problem with doing a major Marvel property is again they're gonna like the truth is out there, Mulder. We know it's true. Like the problem is like the truth is out there. What are aliens? And Scully in this universe would be like, just go talk to like the Silver Surfer or something. There you go. There's a giant purple man who came down like a few years ago to Earth.
Yeah, it'd have to be more. It's like Marvel Knights, its own universe technically, where things aren't as out there as they are in the 616 universe.
Yeah. Another one would be interesting is X-Files and Thor.
That would be pretty cool.
Like have it be like they like kind of almost like the first Thor movie where the hammer has fallen from to Earth and and Mulder and Scully are investigating it and they encounter a man named Donald Blake who is very obsessed with trying to get that hammer. And it'd be like kind of like are gods real? Like what the fuck?
No, that would be cool. I like that. Let me give you the one that I think though would be the biggest one I'd like to see. So I'm saving this one. I'd like to see this as a multi-issue thing that has a couple time jumps in it. So what about if Mulder was friends with a young Star-Lord prior to his abduction, and he kind of like knows about it and ties into his sister's abduction. Then we skip ahead a few years, we get like one encounter with Mulder and Star-Lord, where Star-Lord's on Earth, and Scully's like not believing all this crap he's talking about with the Guardians of the Galaxy. You could have like a what are those aliens that look like xenomorphs?
The Brood.
The Brood, yeah. You could have like a Brood one would be pretty good. You could pick different aliens to put in there. A scroll comic would be kind of neat. So like multiple issues where like Star-Lord is coming back to work with them and kind of portrays himself as like Interpol or like intergalactic pole, and Scully's like, oh dear God, and Mulder's like buying everything he's saying. What do you think of that?
I kind of like that. I kind of dig that. That's a neat idea. I would even say like an X-Files Shield one could work.
Yeah, it would be good.
But yeah, I think like again we run into the whole thing of like it has to be Alien or Predator. That would be that one. Now let me pitch you this one, and it would have to be like intercompany because now we're going over to Dynamite. What about X-Files Gargoyles?
That would be very cool. That is definitely the type of thing I can see in there. The Gargoyles are looked at as they're not well known, maybe not until like the last season, but they're kind of like an urban legend. That would definitely work. Definitely fly there.
Yeah, maybe even have it like Mulder. Like at first, even have it like maybe Mulder thinks it's like the Mothman.
Yeah, any number of stuff would work there. Absolutely. It's got to be something where there's, like you said, room for suspension of disbelief. Which is why I'd like to see Spider-Man, maybe like where Peter's first Spider-Man, but if he's fighting Doc Ock in the middle of New York, it becomes pretty obvious that that's what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I could see, Tyler, real quick, is another one-off where it's just Kurt Connors as the Lizard and Mulder and Scully investigating it. That would be an X-Files type thing.
That's straight up like season 1.
Yes.
I would say like another, and this one you're gonna have to follow me on because this one's gonna be a little hard to explain. X-Files: Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, lay it out for me.
Okay, so basically have it be set with the Caesar continuity, like the new trilogy continuity, okay. And basically have it be Mulder and Scully were there for Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Like,
okay, that would be very cool. I'd be in for that, and that's a Fox property, right? So it's technically under that same umbrella.
Like have it be that the government's getting like antsy about the idea of like this apes intelligence thing, and they're like, hey, we're kind of noticing that this company's being a little shady about what they're finding. We're gonna send you two to investigate, and it's slowly like they get involved in the story of the first movie.
I like it. That'd be great. You have Mulder talking to Caesar, Scully like maybe kind of starting to think that there's more to this than meets the eye. That's a very good idea. I like it a lot.
Yeah. It would be a lot more. People would say like it has to be more bombastic. I was like, no, I think like if as long as you put it like in the first, and if you wanted to do a sequel, you could have it be like Mulder or Scully or Mulder and Scully. Like both of them survived the outbreak, the pandemic, and are now in like the events of Dawn, or like now in the in the event, or like in the world of Planet of the Apes post the virus apocalypse.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I can totally see that.
Yeah,
I like it a lot, actually. I like that one a lot, actually.
Yeah. Have it be like, like even Scully would have to be like, this like is like, even I think Scully wouldn't be as when she finds like Caesar is capable of this kind of level of intellect and finding what they're doing to the apes. It'd be like, I'm almost like, oh, the science is sound. Yeah, I'm like, I can believe this. Mulder, I'm with you on this.
No, that would be cool. You could take it out even further. I didn't care as much for later X Files, but they did get to a point where like Mulder and Scully had a kid that had like telekinetic abilities. Like as the humans are starting to die off, and they have like this mutant kid, it could be like an interesting thing for like the apes to be like, oh, the humans have taken kind of like a jump forward here. That would be interesting too, and on the far end of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you done?
No, I was done. Yeah.
Okay, let me pitch something else to you. So we've been going about this as like X Files meeting Mulder and Scully. What about X Files meeting the villains from X Files in the Marvel universe? Like, for instance, I think it'd be pretty cool to see an episode with the Fluke Man and Spider-Man. Would be kind of neat. Like Spider-Man having to go to sewers, a la Lizard. You could even have a Lizard in it with the Fluke Man type of thing.
Yeah, I'd be kind of down for that. That actually sounds like the Fluke Man works as a Spider-Man villain.
You're totally right. He looks like a Spider-Man villain more than like X Files. And then like if we were looking at other types of things, like the Black Ooze aliens would work very well in a Guardians of the Galaxy story, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see it. What about like the lone gunman characters in their own story? Because they had that. Because remember, X Files technically had 2 crossovers over at IDW. 3, actually. Excuse me, 3.
Yeah, there was the 30 Days of Night one, which I thought was pretty solid. The lone gunman one is interesting because they can be a bit more aware of crazy things because they're looked at as crazy. So like when IDW did a crossover, they met like the Ninja Turtles, right, and the Transformers and stuff,
yeah.
Right?
And then there was a one-shot X-Files Orphan Black crossover.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
I forgot about it, actually. Like, I just remembered it just now, and I'm like, oh shit, there was an Orphan Black X-Files crossover.
I'd like to look into that one. So yeah, but I do think Lone Gunman could be fun because you could do them more as like a joke series, where they're coming across stuff
like have them meet Howard the Duck.
Like Howard the Duck, yes, exactly. Like Howard the Duck would be the perfect person for a Lone Gunman to me. That would be fun. I would definitely be in for something like that.
Yeah.
I think too many others. I like the Shield ideas pretty neat.
Like have it be like maybe in this continuity, like Shield's still like deep cover and it's beyond the government, and Mulder is like digging deeper into it and discovering like a Shield conspiracy, and also like he's like, who the hell's Nick Fury?
Yeah, that would be cool. And I could see like Black Widow showing up and beating the shit out of Mulder. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and like at the end of it, it was like, welcome to Shield, Agent Mulder. It was like all one big test for Mulder and Scully to see if they could dig their way to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. That would be cool. Yeah, I still think Man-Thing, if we're going straight up Marvel, is the best option, for sure. Because Man-Thing operates that nexus of realities thing anyway, so you can make it where it's not 616, that Man-Thing is kind of wandered somewhere else and into the X-Files universe. You know what I mean? Like, that could totally work.
Yeah, like even have it that like Man-Thing's wandered into another universe, or Man-Thing sensed a disturbance in the X-Files universe, so he has to go there to like keep the forces of the nexus of reality safe on that end.
That's a good idea. So that would work well. Like I knew they do like Marvel team up, but like let's say the Lizard did go to the X-Files universe and Man-Thing is the one who followed him there. That could work out very well. Yeah,
and like Man-Thing has like drag him back.
Yes, yeah. I think it also might be cool to have a scene where like Man-Thing touches Mulder, but Mulder's like not afraid of him. That would be so he doesn't burn. That would be kind of neat.
Yeah, like I think like how he would realize that is like seeing someone like shooting at Man-Thing and he's like panicking. And he just burns to death, and then he like Mulder like is like, I'm gonna test a theory real quick. It doesn't show any fear to Man-Thing, and when Man-Thing like he touches Man-Thing or Man-Thing touches him, it's like a moment of, okay, are we cool?
Yeah. To me, that makes the most sense. Because you're not gonna have like Galactus show up and Scully try to stop him. That doesn't work.
Yeah. I think you could do like Secret Invasion, but with X-Files.
So that would be pretty cool because Secret Invasion and the Black Ooze aliens are kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, the Skrulls and the Black Ooze aliens are very alike.
So you could do that. You could have Mulder, and that would work well. Because if Mulder like discover, say like Skinner is actually a Skrull or something like that, or a cigarette smoking man or something, you could do that and have that be an episode. And Scully not really like, or an issue, and Scully not really like see the Skrull part of it. You know what I mean? That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at the video I posted before, and someone posted a really good idea for a crossover.
What's that?
X-Files and Buffy.
Yeah, I know that's for a long time been something fans have wanted to see. That would be cool. Does Disney own Buffy?
Yeah, it's under Fox. Yeah, they do.
Under Fox, right? Yeah, I always think like WB says on the WB. But yeah, that would be a very good idea for a crossover because most of what occurs in Sunnydale is the general public doesn't know about it, or at least they like make it seem like the people who do know about it really try to keep it covered up. I would set it in like season 3 where like the mayor is helping to keep everything covered up. Would be cool. Or you could do it where Mulder's investigating the two of the guys that were capturing all the aliens, the initiative.
Yeah.
Like, that would be cool. I could see that being an issue too. Yeah, definitely X-Files and Buffy is something I'd like to see. Yeah, I can't think of too many other like the Fox properties. Planet of the Apes is a really good idea, Tyler. That one I really do like.
Which one? The X-Files and.
Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any other Fox things we're not thinking about that would fit well in there?
I feel like well, no, that's technically under Paramount. I would have said Warehouse 13.
Yeah, Warehouse 13 would have been cool, but I don't think that's actually Fox, because that was like kind of X-Files inspired.
Now here's one that's not Fox or Disney, but I think like Disney would be okay with it, and I think it would just be fun. What do you think of X-Files Archie?
I'd be for that. I feel like Archie's kind of like Ninja Turtles, where it works in almost anything.
Yeah, I feel like you could go dark and serious or fun either way with this crossover. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I just had a good idea. What about X-Files Jessica Jones?
Actually, that's a pretty solid idea.
Right? Like, Jessica Jones is an investigator and, like, has superpowers but doesn't blatantly put them out there. You could have some kind of, either you could have a Marvel threat or an X-Files threat that one of them's investigating that I think would be pretty cool. Like, who was the guy that was, like, from the X-Files that would kill people and hibernate? I think it was, like, Eugene Toombs for 30 years. I could see, like, Jessica Jones investigating that and Mulder and Scully, like, looking into it, too, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And, like, Mulder could see Jessica using her super strength and Scully just doesn't see that. And then, like, I could totally see, like, Jessica and Scully not getting along.
Oh, God, the back and forth between those two, Mulder would be like, can I just go somewhere else, please?
Like end with like some kind of funny joke, like Luke Cage shows up and Mulder's like, "Dude, you're gonna need some thick skin to deal with that one," you know?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I don't know. Like, is there anything else?
Gotta go with like the more supernatural things. Again, if it's not mainstream Marvel, Ghost Rider might be kind of cool. Go ahead.
No, I was like, Ghost Rider's a solid one if, like, you want to do, like, some, like somewhere out west and do, like, kind of like Ghost Rider sightings or something.
Yeah. You'd have him, like, killing people with a pen and stare. Mulder might think it's either a ghost or, sudden spontaneous combustion type thing. You could have it where they encounter Johnny Blaze, but Scully doesn't really see Ghost Rider himself type of deal. So that one would be okay, but I would say from the ones we talked about, Alien and Predator would be the top of the list, right?
Yeah.
I really like the Planet of the Apes idea. Man-Thing is a solid idea. Then I think Jessica Jones and maybe the Star-Lord one to a lesser extent. I really like Lone Gunman and Howard the Duck, though. I'd be in for that
That one would just be for pure laugh.
Yeah, that one would just be like a joke one. That would be very. I would enjoy that one. I feel like. You could do like again a 5-part one. You could do like Lone Gunman, Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur. I feel like it could work too. And we're like, yo, there's a dinosaur. Good work.
Yeah. I know you said like X-Files Gravity Falls.
Yeah, I would be in for X-Files Gravity Falls. We're looking at the Disney end more, like the gargoyles. I do like that idea. It has to be downplayed some, but like where Mulder and Scully are checking out all the crazy stuff there, and that would be fun because I think you could run it where like at some point even Mulder's like, yo, whatever's going on here is just too crazy for me to buy into, right? and then be out of there. So that one would be pretty fun. Any other like straight up Disney properties you can think of? It's like the gargoyles one I like.
If we're going by Disney properties, those are really like the top two. Maybe Owl House. I think there's enough mystery there. Kind of like maybe have it because the main character Luz goes missing. So for a hot minute, excuse me, this would be better. Amphibia. This is a show where a trio of young girls get transported to a world of like humanoid amphibians, right? So maybe have it that Mulder and Scully are like investigating and looking into the three girls and Sasha and Marcy's disappearance, and have it they're slowly like piecing together like a way to go to that world.
That would be cool. Yeah, I don't know the show, but I like the premise of what you just laid out.
Yeah. So that's just kind of what I got.
No, I like those ideas, and I'd stay away from Star Wars. I don't think X-Files Star Wars mixes too well.
Yeah, I will say like maybe you could, but it would have to be tough. X-Files and Indiana Jones.
You could do it because Indy was still active. I think we're alive at the tail when the X-Files kind of was started up, right?
Well, I was thinking more like it wouldn't be a crossover per se. It'd be more like two stories split that's kind of overarching. Like Indy's solving a mystery, and at the same time, Mulder and Scully are kind of like looking for the same object, whether it be like the Spear of Christ or something like that. And it goes back to like where Dr. Jones ended, Mulder and Scully finish on both sides. It's like jumping timeline.
No, okay, that would be cool. We've seen stories like that before, where it like starts off in the past and carries over. That would be pretty cool. I would be in for something like that. The one I really want to see, and I don't think Disney owns this property, I'm not sure who does, but would be X-Files and Kolchak the Night Stalker.
I knew you were going to say that. Like I was like, he's going to say X-Files Kolchak.
Yeah, of course. That's the big one for me, man. I'd love to see that. Do you know who owns Kolchak at this point?
Universal.
Oh, it is Universal.
Yeah, I only know this because I have the DVD box set right here, and it says Universal on the cover.
Dude, how did we not come up with Kolchak for like the Halloween Night Center, that Universal crossover fighting game?
Damn, how did we not?
He'd be like a great gag character.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said throw it out there. We're not getting that one, obviously, but that would be the dream for me.
What about X-Files Godzilla?
So I, of course, would be in for X-Files Godzilla. You have to do it, though. Like, excuse me, first appearance of Godzilla, where, like, attacks are happening, and they're kind of investigating it, and Mulder is, like, learning about this legend of Godzilla type thing. I do think you could do it. It couldn't be, like, you're not getting, again, Mulder and Scully full-on fighting Godzilla, which you're not getting a lot of that out of the Marvel Comics anyway. But you couldn't do that. It has to be, again, like the investigation component of it would be interesting to see. How would you do that?
See, I would do something similar of like having that the U.S. and like Japanese trading lines, trading routes across the sea have been attacked by it's being claimed that like it's pirates that are doing this, but really Mulder and Scully, like Mulder especially, believes it's something else, and slowly he's like piecing together it's like this thing called Godzilla, and even have it that like he goes to Odo Island and everything, and even talk about like the quote unquote 54 incident where it was covered up as like a storm hit, but really was Godzilla, and have it be that, like, is it the same Godzilla from 1954, or is Godzilla back? Even have it like maybe not even take the cover up and say like, oh yeah, Godzilla happened and he died, but the whole thing is like, is Godzilla really dead, or is this a new one? That's the thing. And I even have G-Force in here as like a group who are kind of like a shadow agency. They're not like out front making Mechagodzillas. They're more like keeping the whole thing of Godzilla still alive, hush hush. And they're like trying to
So
like stonewall Mulder and Scully.
I like the idea. So you could set it up sort of like taking place at the beginning incidents of Return of Godzilla, when the beginning of the Heisei era, and that would almost line up with X Files.
Not even like tie it into Return of Godzilla, but like take that idea of like,
That's what I'm saying. Not officially tied in, but set up sort of like that.
yeah, like something of that akin. Whereas like, do you like even G-Force is like telling Mulder like, do you realize what would happen if the world found out that monster was still alive? Like, do you understand the implications of what it would do to the entire global economy, everything, if they found out he was still alive?
Yes,
And almost treat
would be,
like even treat Godzilla like almost like a monster from Lovecraft.
yes, that's what you have to do. Where he's not out there in the open for everybody to see, but just where like Mulder is kind of aware of it, but doesn't get enough proof to show everybody. That would be cool.
Yeah. I think you could like, I know it wouldn't be like big and action packed. It'd be more of it would almost be like a H.P. Lovecraft story than anything else. But I think you can make it work if you get the right writer to do it. Like, really play into the whole Godzilla horror element.
Yeah, totally. You can definitely do it, and that's when X Files works best. When it's more like a mystery investigation, like a Lovecraft type story, as opposed to like Mulder and Scully taking something down. You know, that's actually their rate of taking things down is actually pretty low. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I would be in for that. Would be cool. So I think that's probably it. I don't know. Like, I don't see TMNT working. I know it's out of Marvel again, but it's a possibility. I guess you could have like Mulder find the turtles and Scully like investigating the hand, but I don't think that really works too well.
Yeah, I don't think Paramount and Marvel are. I mean, yeah, Paramount and Disney are going to work on that one. Yeah, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened so far with these crossovers.
X-Files Stranger Things now, huh?
That could, like, I joke, but like, there's a possibility because again, if like Marvel's willing to work with DC again, and now working with Dynamite and Toho, anything's possible.
Yeah. And actually, that would lend itself very well to an X-Files crossover.
Stranger Things, yeah.
And TNT did, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Anyway, so those are our ideas. Matt, thank you so much for coming on here. And you guys, tell us in the comments below, what are some X-Files crossovers you want to see? Just comment below, let us know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.